My name is Stacie Kinsey, and I'm your 2020-2021 Secretary-Treasurer of NSNA. I'd like to welcome you to NSNA's virtual 2020 Summer Leadership U Conference, and specifically to this segment, the role of the Chapter Secretary, making history through meeting minutes. My first piece of advice is to get a hold of NSNA's Secretary's Handbook, formerly called Recording and Corresponding Secretaries. It has a wealth of information that will help you navigate your role as secretary, as a quick look at the contents page can attest to. You can download it from NSNA's website, from the Guidelines for Planning page, or email nsna@nsna.org. Your duties as secretary include things such as keeping the meeting minutes, reading the prior meeting minutes for approval, or send the minutes prior to the meeting to avoid reading it, taking roll call and determining a quorum. You may be responsible for creating the agenda and sticking to it. You'll co-sign approved meeting minutes with the presiding officer. Act as correspondent on behalf of the entire membership or board. You also may preside as chairman in absence of the president or vice president. Please refer to your bylaws for specifics. When taking the job of secretary, you may be overwhelmed by the number of things you need to know about the chapter or association in order to be successful. NSNA has prepared a checklist of everything you need to know in one place, one for school chapters and one for state associations. You can get this document online, call NSNA, or email nsna@nsna.org. Documentation is vital to the organization in many ways. It helps staff and leaders determine the status of association business. Is this item open, or has it been closed and decided? Historical documentation provides the groundwork for future boards to reference. Minutes may be required for applying for tax-exempt of incorporation status. Minutes are considered a legal document, which could be subpoenaed by the court of law and/or IRS. They are also open for inspection by the general membership. Continuing the documentation role of the secretary, specifically for state associations, the secretary typically has to keep NSNA updated on the change of officers. Submit state association minutes to NSNA via NSNA's JOT form at the link provided. NSNA will accept electronic signatures from all states. You will also need to keep the NSNA board informed by submitting current or updated copies of bylaws to NSNA. This is part of the constituency process. Performing well as a secretary means handling some very essential paperwork for your board. The use of motion forms is highly recommended for all decisions approved or denied by the board. Written motions can be used. The next slide will show an example of a typical motion form. Rules of engagement are agreed upon by the board as it's formed, and it is recommended for fairness of discussion and order. You as a group can put together a rules of engagement document, which lays out ways in which you communicate with each other during the board meeting or any external communications. You must have an agenda for the meeting. It should be distributed before the meeting. The secretary should have access to all past minutes and will be actively taking notes and recording the meeting for minutes of the current meeting. Don't be afraid to ask someone to repeat themselves to ensure you are documenting it accurately. It's recommended that the secretary understand Robert's Rules of Order. Robert's Rules lays out how a meeting should be conducted in an efficient and orderly manner, according to professionally agreed upon parliamentary rules, and will explain different types of motions and such. I mentioned previously that you should have a copy of NSNA's Guidelines for Planning, Recording and Corresponding Secretaries, or the Secretary's Handbook. I have here an example of a motion form that can be copied from the aforementioned Secretary's Handbook. You should include discussion around the motion and the wording of the motion, who made the motion and who seconded it, and action on the motion, all according to Robert's Rules of Order. An example of actions on the motion: has it carried, failed, been tabled, referred to committee, etc. An example wording is: motion made for the Nursing Association to spend $500 for a convention sign as per the sponsorship contract. Submitted by Sally Hill, seconded by William Carter. Action, carried. Looking at the agendas. The agenda should have the following items: call to order and roll call. Reading approval of prior minutes. You would move to accept this. President's report, the treasurer and secretary's report, reports of special committees, unfinished business, new business, date, time, and place for the next meeting, announcements, and adjournment. If this slide looks familiar, it's because the minutes follow the order of the agenda closely and will make it easier for you to create your meeting minutes. You can refer to the pages 6 through 8 of the Secretary's Handbook for more details. This is a summary look at what the minutes should look like. Of course, yours will be filled out in much more detail. We suggest that you be innovative in your secretary's role. You may take notes in a Word document of the minutes template as things come up before the pending meeting. Maybe you can use a Google Doc to take notes to share information before putting it into the minutes. Consider using electronic recordings during the meeting. Most cell phones and laptops have recording capabilities. Train an alternate to carry out those duties in case of your absence. Network with other secretaries. Sit in on your state nurse association's meeting. Be informative but concise and to the point, and use general statements for the minutes. State associations. This is a reminder to send your state association minutes and all correspondence to the address seen here. The link to upload state association minutes is posted here again. Email Kiana at nsna.org or nsna@nsna.org. As secretaries, I'm sure you took notes on any questions or comments you may have. If you wish to contact me, my email is posted here. Kiana at NSNA handles the minutes for the state associations, and her email is posted. And remember to download secretary guidelines as mentioned before. Thank you for your time.